What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Valentine's Day review, and today we're going to be talking about a film that I've somehow never seen before until now, and man, am I happy I finally did, because now it's one of my favorite rom-coms and arguably a top 15, top 20 romance film I've ever seen. Crazy Stupid Love. This story is bonkers. The plot moves at such a fast pace, having so many moving parts to it with all the character arcs going on. Most times in romance films, you get the breakup stories or how a couple falls in love, out of love, and back in love again, or sometimes there's that crazy love triangle effect. But in the case of Crazy Stupid Love, there's this almost love octagon going on. It's absolutely mental. At face value, the plot can be pretty formulaic, but when you let all the pieces marinate, then come together, on top of the amount of style it has and its approach to the storytelling and pieces of dialogue, it's really anything but ordinary in all the right ways. At times, the plot can almost feel like it's too convoluted, but the way they give each piece time to breathe, then bring them all together was so nicely done and balanced out, giving you equal time to get invested into each plot line. Sometimes filmmakers struggle to create genuine conflict and resolution, or struggle to create a genuine encounter to make the plots come full circle, but Crazy Stupid Love had absolutely no trouble in doing that, with such a groundbreaking twist come the climax of the film. The twist was so extraordinary, giving such a fresh take to the meaning of how stories meet. To me, throughout about half of this film or so, it didn't seem like they were painting such a great picture on life and how people should act, seemingly heading in a really shallow direction, but how they were able to turn that around to become one of the better feel-good endings in cinema that I can really remember was truly something special, and honestly, a damn near perfect ending. This really isn't your typical rom-com, if you will, because Crazy Stupid Love tackles a lot of mature, yet relatable tones. They do such a good job fleshing out each idea, mixing with the great bits of comedy to offset the seriousness, while coupling in the great emotional beats the film hits, by using visual and dialogue cues to demonstrate that. This film can be very funny at times, but the underlying messages they hint at about the effects of divorce between couples and how it affects them and the people around them, then you have the message about sometimes you need to embrace being sad and accept what things are, instead of going out there and doing your own thing straight away. And then it also shows that everybody goes through hurt and breakups and deal with it in their own way, amongst many, many other things as well. Although the story was fantastic, the character work was just as good and really brought these themes and pieces of dialogue to life in such a magnificent way, having a lot of star power behind this film with names like Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone, Marissa Tomei, Kevin Bacon, Julianne Moore, and John Carroll Lynch. There are just countless great character moments between all characters, where, of course, some characters bounce off one another a bit better, but every single character had a great encounter with each other. Each character had their own interesting character arc, which is mighty impressive to me, where more times than not with a film with this large of a cast, at least a few characters will go underdeveloped, but every character had many moments to shine and show their character arc and how their life changed. Our creators do such a great job in establishing all of our characters straight away and continue to flesh them out as time passes, getting you more and more indulged in them and their motives. Starting with Steve Carell. Why is he so good at playing these virgin style of characters? He really just has a knack for these style of roles, just like in 40-Year-Old Virgin, but he absolutely smashes this one. He shows such a great range to his character, where he can be subtle and mellow at times, but can be also vibrant, loud, and funny in others. For my money, he was certainly the funniest character in the entire film, where he somehow made these cringy and almost uncomfortable scenes and pieces of dialogue work so well. The film was definitely at its best whenever he was in frame. As far as Ryan Gosling's character goes, I'm gonna be honest, throughout about most of the film, really didn't care for him all that much. But if I am honest, about halfway through the second act and on, he became one of my favorite characters and in all honesty, really carried this film. No matter who he was working with in whatever scene, it worked tremendously well. It was really the glue to the cast, making everyone better. Now, his character is certainly flawed, but to me, that's what plays into the charm of his character, where he was the one giving advice, but in reality, he should have been the one taking advice from someone else. And that's a big reason why his character arc works so well for me. To me, his character arc is by far the best out of all characters and really elevated this film to new heights. His connection with Steve Carell meshed so well, and then him and Emma Stone's character was arguably the best part of the whole film, where them two would just have extraordinary chemistry between the two of them, and that was also demonstrated later on in their careers with their other great films. Their connection added a great and much necessary piece of heart to the silly film. Another really solid addition to this film was the teenage actors as well. The creators took a really big risk in giving them a solid piece to this mature story, but it definitely worked out because whenever the adults weren't in frame, their connections and plot lines were equally interesting and well acted. When it comes to the screenplay, I found it to be pretty above average if I'm honest. There was some nice wit to these pieces of dialogue, mixing with this zany style of comedy, but a lot of the credit goes to the cast, because without them, a lot of this film could have felt pretty flat without the right style of deliveries. The film doesn't always take itself serious, and I thought that was a good thing with this style of comedy that was sewed in, but it certainly worked for the better because it's stylish and original at its core, where it still embraces that silliness. Now, I would be lying if I said all the gags paid off, because there were some bits that just couldn't be saved, but it had such a nice balance of dark laughs, mixed in with some genuine laughs, and a lot of credit goes to the comedic timing the film had as well. Now, although this film was so much fun, it doesn't come without at least a couple blemishes. My main issue comes with some of the messages it puts out there. Although it certainly cleaned it up towards the end, it can easily be misconstrued for making being single a burden and a problem, which obviously it's not, where it also hints at don't take no for an answer, which also isn't really the greatest message. It also shows that sometimes the asshole can win some battles at times, or being the bad guy is okay. Other than that, there's small things like sometimes the balancing of the stories can be a little wonky at times, or after all the smoke is cleared from the twist, you could pretty much guess how the rest of the film is going to wrap up, and although it pays off, it's a bit easy to see through it. But outside of that, I absolutely adored this film. Overall, Crazy Stupid Love is an absolute gem. I'll be watching this film many, many times in the near future. Crazy Stupid Love gets an 8 out of 10 from me. Let me know what you think about Crazy Stupid Love in the comments below, and let me know what film you'd like to see me review next. See you guys in the next one.